Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, editor-in-chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Happy Mental Monday, y'all. Happy Mental Monday. It is the beginning of an amazing week, and we have some contributing writers that are coming in. We're going to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence, EI. So let me go and bring them on in the house. I am being joined. We're taking center stage on the Own It Publishing platform with Teresa Palmer. Good morning, Teresa.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, we got Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger in the house.
Good morning.
And we have Mr. Jeffrey Edwards in the house as well. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk a little bit about the role of emotional intelligence and that in our personal growth, right? This is so important. So before we start, because there's a few people out there that have seen you, but there's some people out there, a lot of people out there that don't know you guys. So just take a minute just to go ahead and introduce yourself. Teresa, who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do. We'll go to Dr. Jeffrey, and then we'll finish up with Jeffrey.
Okay, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Teresa Palmer. I'm a nurse practitioner, or advanced practice nurse as it's called. I'm also author of the book, Heal Your Heart from Within. About 24 years ago, I developed a program with my cardiac or heart patients on heart consciousness, which is all about raising heart health to the next level. And by that, it incorporates self-awareness, which is so important, and self-care, and things that you could do for yourself in order to improve your heart health. And it doesn't matter. There's always something that we can do to help ourselves, and it doesn't matter what condition. I don't like to talk about disease because disease makes you feel hopeless, whereas a condition means that it's a condition, and there's always something you can do to change that condition. And right now I could be found on wellbeinggal.com is my website. And I'm on Instagram at well_being_gal. That's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Teresa. All right, Dr. Jeffrey.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany. I'm Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger, and I'm the CEO and founder of Abundance and Optimum Wellness. And as a certified health coach today, I'm really taking a finance-first approach to achieving all-encompassing personal well-being by embracing new ways to true wealth in the modern world. I believe by exploring diverse paths opens the door to true wealth in every sense today. And as a global ambassador for an innovative company revolutionizing the future of real estate through digital technology and other technologies being developed today, I'm deeply committed to empowering individuals and communities worldwide. My mission goes beyond business, really by providing global-minded entrepreneurs with new ways to true wealth in the modern world so they can take advantage of the technologies being developed today that will change the world in the future. And it's really all about creating opportunities, providing access, and building a more inclusive and supportive digital world where everyone has a chance to thrive. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeffrey. All right, Mr. Jeffrey.
How y'all doing today? My name is Jeffrey Edwards from Detroit. I'm an author, musician, journalist, CEO, and host of 3 Jelly brand shows. One for interviews, help people find their purpose. Sports show, we talk a lot of trash. A social discussion, we cover everything. And my latest book, Jail Lee's Daily Devotional, is out on Amazon. Go check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So everybody, look, we got a wonderful panel today. And again, we're talking about emotional intelligence and the role that emotional intelligence plays on our personal growth. We were talking backstage, and, when you look around today, there's a lot of people that are just numb. And they're numb because of technology and the advancement of, they're numb because there's just not a lot of, social connection anymore. And I think people are just losing, how they feel, right? So let's talk a little bit about it. We're going to start with you, Teresa. Can you explain what emotional intelligence is to you and why it's so important in today's world.
Okay, number one, I think emotional intelligence, it's about you and it's about being self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have intelligence if you're not aware. And as children, we were always aware of ourselves. And as we grew to be adults, we were taught socially, at least in the United States, we were taught to look outside ourselves, to be in our minds, and to look to other people for the answers, experts. And that became the norm. Whatever you needed, you looked to someone else. You didn't trust your own judgment. And we were taught not to feel. Being in healthcare for over 30 years, I can't tell you how many people, the first thing they want is an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, because they don't want to feel. And you have to feel in order to get to the other side. Of course, if you can't get out of bed, if you can't function, take care of children, animals, go to work, anything like that, because of a clinical depression, then you need a jump start. That's medication. That's where you need a professional evaluation to see what's appropriate. But for most of us, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel anxious. These are emotions that we need to deal with. And if you experience loss, the only way to get to the other side of that is to feel it. And one of my mentors, Rick Jarrow, who's unfortunately, he's transitioned about almost a year ago now. And he always said, sometimes you have to sit in the oven until you're fully baked. And we don't like to sit in that oven. We like to come out and keep making the same mistakes and decisions over and over again because we don't learn. And emotional intelligence is all about learning about yourself, how to handle your emotions, what these things mean, and then bringing that into the outside world. So to me, it's really all about self-awareness. And there's staggering statistics that only 17% of people polled in the United States even knew what self-awareness was. I mean, that's so low that means that there's almost 60 some, 70 some, 80 some people that have no idea what self-awareness even means. So we need to get into ourselves, and the only way to do that is to get to know ourselves, and that can be done through being quiet and focusing on what we're feeling, how we're feeling, and working with that. And being in touch with our physical bodies also.
Yes, wow. Thank you so much, Teresa. Dr. Jeffrey.
So, yeah, I agree with a lot of what Teresa has said, some really profound statements there. I do want to add, I think many in my generation grew up in an era where, men don't cry, men don't have feelings. And it was kind of really drilled into our bodies and that we are into our heads. But also, we grew up in an era where we were taught to go to school, get an education, and go work for somebody and be a robot. And I think that really stifles people on. I know it stifled me personally from emotional intelligence, but for me, it's more recently while I'm out on my own and really exploring outside of that corporate world is really understanding and managing my own emotions and recognizing and also really responding effectively to those emotions, not only to myself but to others, and really understanding that. And with today's interconnected world, I mean, we've got so much out there that today people are just numb with the technologies that we have going on, especially the children out there.
Yes.
They're not really getting out into the world and building relationships. And the emotional intelligence aspect of it, it's really paramount to building strong relationships, whether it's personal, business, whatever, and navigating those complex social situations, if you will, and fostering a more compassionate and understanding society. And with that, it's also about, I have found for myself with the emotional intelligence, I was in a place where I would react and now I don't react anymore because it did not benefit me from a growth perspective.
Yeah, wow, good stuff. I think it's the power of the pause, right? It really
Right.
is. Like when you just pause for a second, it could just change that situation tremendously just from pausing and just going within for a second and just tapping into your own emotions. And you hit the nail on the head about like knowing your own emotions, because if you when you know your own emotions, you can manage the room. You know how when you walk into a room and if you're upset, and you walk into a room, people are gonna feel
You'll
that.
notice
You
that.
know, when you're in a room and someone walks in and they're just nasty,
Yeah.
it's that energy, and you can
Right.
feel that. So it's really being able to be in touch with your own, having that emotional intelligence, right? So
Right.
then you can really manage, even as a leader and as as a boss, right? When you have employees, when you have that emotional intelligence and you're happy and you are filled with gratitude, having that attitude of gratitude and not letting, all these things build up, right? Because when you let it build up, you explode, and
Right.
no one needs that. So that, oh man, just,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, Mr. Jeffrey Edwards, what does emotional intelligence mean to you, and why is it important in today's world?
Everybody makes great points about it. I think it's being able to control your emotions to a degree, because life comes at us real fast, especially in today's world.
Mhm.
And if you don't, you will always be reactive. And if you can find some measure of balance, you can engage others and maybe help them. So I know being a Generation X, we were like in the middle of the old school and then the iPhone and TikTok world. Well, we adapted on the flash so we can keep navigating through all this. And we was coming up. We still did hear your boys don't crash, suck it up. I know your arm broke, but you're all right. Even though think about it now, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Your arm is off your arm, but you're all right. You ain't hurt. So you screaming in your head like, "Oh my God, I'm in pain! Somebody save me!" Because you say it out loud, they're gonna talk about you. And now that's probably created a lot of deficient emotional men, where now mental health is a thing after COVID, because we got to deal with those emotions. We
Right.
can't just keep keeping it bottled up, because it's going to come out, and hopefully it can be more productive instead of unproductive. Best word.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now how can improving that self-awareness, I know, Teresa, you touched on that a little bit. How can, improving that self-awareness help with navigating tough emotions and, and or situations when they do come up? Because like you said, Jeffrey, life be lifing, and, we tough stuff thrown at us. So yeah, so Teresa, talk about that.
That's a word.
Handling emotions can be tough because, again, we're not really told to do that. When somebody asks you how you are, the response is you're fine, even if you're not fine. Not that we should go around telling everybody our deepest, darkest secrets, but when you have that kind of conditioning, it kind of sets you up to have a barrier, to even put a mask over your feelings. And what we need to do, again, is be aware of ourselves, get to know ourselves. Because if we don't know ourselves, we certainly can't know or help others. And I know you had mentioned, Tiffany, about that energy. Well, that energy comes from your heart, because the heart is the largest energetic field in the body. It extends at least 3 feet out from us. So what we're feeling, people between 3 and 6 feet around us can feel that also. So if we're not comfortable with our emotions, technically we're making other people uncomfortable with us
Mhm.
because they don't know what to expect from us. So handling your emotions is really delving in and seeing how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. What is it that has you upset? And knowing that if you lose a job, lose a pet, lose a spouse, lose anything, that you're expected not to feel good. you don't have to feel good every day. You don't have to put a fake smile on your face. I know in another session we talked about faking it until you make it. Well, no, there's no faking it, because once you get into faking it, it's hard to get out of it. So you have to be you, have to understand yourself, and you have to do that inner work. And the best way to do it is to sit quietly with yourself and just feel your emotions, feel sensations in your body. And then how could you change that? Maybe you just need to sit with it for a while. Maybe you could go out for a walk. Maybe there's something you could do, but acknowledge, I lost my job. I don't like it. I'm feeling sad about it. And now what could I do about it? Don't brush those emotions down. Keep them on the surface. It doesn't mean you have to hide from the world. It just means that you're saying, this is my problem. This is what I'm feeling. Now, what is the solution? Or is there a solution? Maybe the answer is feel sad, go through it, come out the other end.
Thank you, Teresa. Dr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, so great, great nuggets there, Teresa, and I resonate with a lot of that. For my journey, I talked about reacting in the previous question, and I want to elaborate on that a little bit more with this here, because for me, the journey was I had a lot of reaction. I reacted to a lot throughout most of my career as a software engineer, and did not deal with stress very well. Come to realize it was a contributing factor of gut health for me. When I understood the complexity of our gut health and the foods that we're eating today with the 10,000 chemicals that are in there, the preservatives that are in there for our food are contributing to, stress, depression, anxiety. That was a major contributor in relationship to my journey, and being able to understand that from a biological perspective and opening up the communication between the gut, the brain, and the heart, because Teresa talks about that heart, and they all do talk together.
Yeah.
They talk to each other, and once you can get that alignment and your gut into a really homeostasis situation, then that for me opened up my mind to being able to embrace the emotions, because there's a lot of triggers that come with different types of emotions. And for me, it's about taking a step back rather than diving in and reacting, but I take a step back and evaluate. Why is this happening to me? What is it? What does it mean? What am I supposed to learn? Am I supposed to take something away from it? Or is this what it's supposed to do right now? And then the other thing is from learning, if I'm going to learn something from this, what do I do and how do I take that forward to share that experience with others? So that's been one of my key experiences over the last, 6 to 8 years, working on my own health because of my own stress, anxiety, depression that was at a 10 plus for decades. And in August of 2019, it went down to a level 1, and it's been like that ever since. So it's a blessing.
Oh man, congratulations. That's an absolute blessing for sure. And you're so right. I mean, the stuff that we put in our body, it does a lot,
Yeah, and also, if I can just interject here, the other thing is I came off of 5 medications, and certain medications have impact on your mental, acuity, if you will.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you have to be able to know your body and like
Right.
Teresa's saying, being self-aware, right? Because there's a lot of, when you are on a medication, you have to look at those side effects and things like that. There could be things, your body could be feeling some type of way. You could be feeling pains and things like that. And you're just thinking, oh, well, you know what? I worked out a little bit, or, oh, maybe I moved a little different or something. And that's it. But no, it's actually something else that's, a lot more serious than that. So
exactly.
Mr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talking about this because I was laid off at the end of October last year, and I had to go through those different emotions and process what's the next move. It took a minute because you go from shock, anger, then you don't want to listen to the voice and say you ain't gonna make it, you're gonna be on the street. Like, nope, God got me, shut up. To where, okay, this is what it is. What's the next move? Apply for the job, tell them a resume, get back to your content creating because I was kind of on autopilot doing like I don't feel like doing none of this. But once you go through all those different emotions, you find a new game plan because you got to get to the other side of the room, and it might look real foggy and dark, but you got to deal with it to get to the other side. If anybody is dealing with that, you gotta go through it. There's no other option. You got to deal with it, but you can't get to the other side.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So now having that EI, having that emotional intelligence, it really is it has a lot to do with how we develop relationships, right? So what are some of the simple ways to develop empathy and improve our interpersonal relationships? Teresa.
Okay. Well, there's a difference between empathy and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Compassion means I understand what you're going through and I can sympathize with it. Empathy means I'm feeling what you're feeling. And they're both good. But the problem that people run into with empathy is that they take on those feelings themselves and it gets stuck inside of them. It's an energetic exchange. So for me, I work in healthcare and I see everything from the best situations to the worst situations. I have compassion. I have compassion for my patients for what they're going through. Do I have empathy? Yes, I do have empathy, but I also have to guard myself with that because I can't get caught up in somebody's state, whether it be physical, emotional, spiritual, everything, because then I can't help them. Once you get too close to that situation, you lose all perspective. You become entangled and meshed with it. And that's sometimes, I think, what people run into a problem with spirituality because they get enmeshed into these situations and they lose their identity. And that, I think, is the downside. So, yes, there is a place for empathy, but you also have to know that you have to know your own boundaries. So, again, you have to know yourself. And there's always things that you could do. Like I know a lot of energy workers, and I do study some energy medicine, where you put a shield around yourself and that shield could either be a light, anything that you want it to be, and it surrounds you. So what I use is like they use for Star Trek when they beamed you up,
Yeah.
and it's like this film, and you put that around you, and that way it protects your energy so that you don't, for lack of a better word, get entangled or enmeshed with somebody else's energy. So it's important to have empathy, it's important to have compassion, but if you're dealing with empathy, know how to protect yourself from that energetic emotional response that gets triggered with the empathy.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Dr. Jeffrey? Oh, you're muted.
Thanks. Sorry about that. Cultivating empathy for me has been a journey of active listening. During my career and being on those medications, it didn't really serve me in a way where I was actively listening because of the reactions that I had and not wanting to listen, but and not really wanting to listen to other people's perspective. It's like, well, that's your problem, and I don't want to hear it, and I don't want to understand it, type of thing. But since cleaning my gut, I go back to the gut again because it's a system that has just so much power. It's allowed me to taking a step back. All right. And looking at a bigger, broader perspective of the individual and kind of putting myself into their shoes, because then through mindfulness for me, and as well as self-reflection of the past and what I've gone through, I've been able to embrace and have an understanding of where they're coming from, because sometimes what they've gone through is what I've gone through. So I understand that. So by acknowledging our own emotions and biases through that journey, we can better understand and connect with the others by acknowledging and validating that they have their own emotions, and we resonate with that, rather than we embrace that rather than rejecting it and pushing it away from ourselves. Because for me, during my 8 to 10 year journey here, it's been a growing experience for me, and I'm very, very blessed and appreciative of getting introduced to that gut health aspect, because I don't know where I would be today. And I always reflect on going home for a holiday gathering. I have a twin brother, and I walked into the kitchen, take my reactive, and do it 10 times. That's him. And he reacted. And I just looked, and I took a step back, and I'm like, oh my God, that was me like 2 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. And that doesn't happen anymore. And that is, that's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Wow, thank you. Good stuff. Thank you. All right, Jeffrey.
For me, I've learned to compartmentalize, because some people's situations could be extreme, and the way they're emotionally dealing with it, it might require you to be that person they hug for a minute, or pray with, or whatever they need, or just listen. So you're there in that moment with them, but you don't stay there, because you, like, say, you can get lost in it. Because some of the stories you hear, like, whoa, I need a drink right now. I can't believe this happened to him. But you're still trying to be helpful and be focused, so you don't walk away with all that on you. Like, I feel down. Yeah, because you just heard some stuff that is very bad, and you're trying to process. So everybody technique is different, but for me, if I compartmentalize, I'm able to take it off after I leave their presence and not have it stay with me.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Jeffrey. So, how do you guys recommend using emotional intelligence to maintain a positive work-life balance? I know we were talking about that a little bit in the background before we came on, and I shared a few things that I did myself with that work-life balance. And really, I mean, I kind of brought home, to work with me, and I just made sure that I lead by example. I always made sure I had a positive attitude, took time for myself, but also gave people a space. Especially as human resources, you want to give people a space to be able to just, if they need to cry, let them cry. If they need to, just get it all out. Just get it out. You need to cuss it up, whatever, just to get it out. Just get it out. And that really helped, even for myself, just having that space, it really helped that work-life balance. So Teresa, how do you recommend using emotional intelligence to maintain that positive work-life balance?
So since everything starts with you first, it's always about us first. We have to put ourselves first, because you can't drink from an empty well. And the airline industry says it the best. Put your own oxygen mask on first, then help others. Because if you don't, you're going to be dead, and you're not going to be able to help others. And it's a harsh way to look at it, and sometimes it's a harsh reality. But with work-life balance, you have to put yourself first. If you have to, you set boundaries with work. And it's just something that you need to do. Many, many years ago, I started my career in cardiac surgery, and I loved it, but it was difficult. The surgeon expected me to be there 24/7, I couldn't take care of my own business. And it finally reached a point where I had to sit down with the surgeon and say, this is what I need from the job. And he told me, no, you can't have that. That's not what the job is. So I left the job. After 3.5 years, I left. I stayed in cardiology, but I put myself first and put myself in positions where maybe I didn't get as much honor and glory as I did in that job, but I was able to fulfill what I needed for myself in order to help my patients. So I would say put yourself first. It's not being selfish, it's crucial for health, well being, and to be able to be there for other people. And that's how I balance my work life. I start with me.
Awesome. Thank you, Teresa. Dr. Jeffrey, what about you?
That's great, Teresa. So to open the doors for emotional intelligence, I believe it starts with loving yourself first. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't love yourself first, there are a lot of things that will inhibit you from moving forward. And so with that, emotional intelligence is really crucial for work-life balance. I think more so today than in the past. I could be wrong, but I'm getting that sense more today because of everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. And by recognizing the different stress levels, setting healthy boundaries around yourself, learning to say no. And because you're not going to be pleasing everybody, it's okay to say no, and communicating that effectively with, your colleagues. And this is personal or business that I take. And this really helps reduce the stress. It reduces that burnout potential and really cultivates a more well-rounded, harmonious work-life balance, if you will. And it's really about understanding your values and your beliefs, the strengths and weaknesses and those triggers that you need to manage and be able to walk through that and get onto the other side, being positive and learning from that growth. And that is something that I've learned over these years. And again, I'm just very, very thankful. But also, I want to say to the panel here, it's about meeting people like Teresa and Jeffrey and you, Tiffany, and building that relationship and learning from other people's experiences and knowledge and wisdom, because there are so many different attributes that individuals have, because we all have a purpose, we all have a meaning, and we want to share that with the world, because there's so much negativity out there and so many things that are bad. We want to give people hope, and that's what we're here for.
That's right. Absolutely. Well said, Dr. Jeffrey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Jeffrey.
All right. Great points from the panel. But my perspective, you need some me time, because someone's always going through something more than what you're going through. And for you to find that focus, you matter. Whether you draw in your drawing book, watch cartoons like myself, or music, or take a walk, whatever you need to do to reset you to deal with that day's situation. And understand it's just for that day. The sun's going to shine tomorrow. Do the best you can with it, let it go. Because you can be overworking even after you get home and feel like you're never off the clock.
Right.
And then once you start getting into them waters, you feel like you're a drone. Like, do I ever get a break? Do I get a weekend? Like, you gotta have a cutoff for yourself. Okay, if I get off at 2:00, if I got to do paperwork, 3:30 cutoff. I don't care what it is, we done. Yeah. It'll be there tomorrow. Go get some me time. Go put your feet up, something. And that should help you. I mean, my ultimate is always to run the music. That's my sanctuary. And I can tolerate anything. So if they ever stop music, I'll probably be Thanos. As long as I got music, I can deal with anything.
Thank you. Great points, everyone. Great points. This has been amazing. So, Teresa, can you just tell everyone how they can get in contact with you? Once again, I'm going to bring it up on the ticker, and then we'll go to you, Dr. Jeffrey, and then you, Jeffrey, as well.
Okay, you could get in touch with me either through Instagram, well_being_gal, or you could reach me through my website, wellbeinggal.com, all one word. And my book is Heal Your Heart from Within. It's available on Amazon.com, BalboaPress.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and BooksAMillion.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Teresa. All right, Dr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, so let's see. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search for Jeffrey E. Berger or Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger. I don't think that's on TikTok or, So, and then just look for the bald dude. You'll find me.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Jeffrey. All right, Mr. Jeffrey, go ahead.
You can find me on LinkedIn or go to Middle Ground with JLE, cross screen, LLC, Gmail, or look up Middle Ground with JLE on Instagram. You can actually Google me. That's the weirdest thing. If you put in Middle Ground with JLE, you will find me on one of my episodes, one of my shows. On my YouTube channel, Middle Ground with JLE, LLC.
Awesome. Very good. Well, and you can also find everyone on Phoenix Fitness Fanatics in the magazine. Jeffrey, Dr. Jeffrey was our January cover guy. So this is his third year, 3 times. That's a 3-peat, y'all. So thank you, Dr. Jeffrey, for gracing us once again with an amazing cover. You are amazing. Just watching your journey through, this last couple of years has just been awesome. And, you just add so much value out there. And again, you guys got to check him out. Check everyone out here. Check Teresa out. Check Jeffrey Edwards out. Subscribe to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine. Just go to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics mag2021.com and get your subscription there. And you can also, you can Google me if you want to Google Coach Tiffany Parr. You'll see a whole lot of stuff out there between Phoenix Fitness Fanatics, Own It magazine, which is our parent magazine, Own It magazine and publishing. So there's a lot of information out there for all of you all to just be able to dive into and become the best version of yourself. So we want to thank you all for joining us today. We love you so much. Have an amazing week, and we will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.